Hello, Adrian here. So we've got our objects all inside a nice little folder, but we want to know exactly what each of these objects imply. And basically within Unreal, Unreal is not really a CAD package as you're used to sort of operating with. It's more a hoster of files, or an asset manager is another way to put it. And assets are basically all of the things that come from external bits of software and are put into Unreal, and Unreal is a place that you sort of associate objects together, add interactivity, and apply different objects to one another. So for instance, you take a material and apply it to a bit of geometry. The material might have come from Photoshop, whilst the geometry came from Rhino. And you might grab some audio and put that into your level as well, and then have that audio play in your level. And that audio could have come from either a recording you took on your phone, or you might have maybe you composed some music in like Finale or some other bit of software. But that's the basics of understanding, like, Unreal does not make content as much as it hosts content. And so if we go through our content browser a bit farther and have a look at the kinds of objects we get in here. So cyan is a marker that says it's a static mesh, and as I sort of said briefly before, static meshes are sort of what comes out of most CAD software. And so if we hover over it, we'll actually see that there's a whole bunch of information that's specific to static meshes, as well as saying in brackets that it is a static mesh. And so there's like information of the object size and things like that, and the approximate actual real world size. So you can see that there's like dimensions on there. And if we go through to somewhere else, like let's go to our starter content. Starter content is a great place to explore just to see the different types of objects you can find. So let's double click on audio, and we'll see in here a few different types of files. Here we have a actual sound, and that'll say sound wave. And if you click on that, I'm not sure it'll work if I click on it, but you actually hear the sound that is. And we'll also have a cue, and this cue actually lets you drop that into your world. So sound by itself can't be dropped in, but we'll sort of cover in later videos, or you'll have to investigate yourself how to do that. But that's just the idea of this is a different type of object that can be hosted, and sound is dictated as purple. So just sort of remember that. And if we go back into the starter content and open up something like materials, materials again have a different type of preview and a different color coding. So materials are done in as green. And so if you've ever seen something with a little green bar, you'll know that's a material and it operates in a certain way. And if we go back again once more and open up, say, textures, these are just pure pixels, and those are dictated as red. And so when you see something with a red underline, you'll know that that's a image file of some sort, and that'll come from its respective file, usually something like Photoshop, or if you're a bit more advanced, something like Substance. So that's the sort of basics of understanding assets. There's a whole bunch more which you can sort of generate within Unreal, but that sort of falls into a different category, which is more to do with this notion of buckets, which I'll be covering in the next few tutorials. But yeah, feel free to explore the content browser and get familiar with these objects. And feel free to import things that aren't just geometry when you're working on a project. You can put audio into your work, and it will actually add a bit more flavor into your architecture, just to give it a bit more context and a bit more sort of substance and atmosphere. But yeah, so that's the basics of what assets are and how those are relevant to using Unreal. So see you next time.
This project was supported by a UTS Widening Participation Strategy, First Year Experience Grant, funded through the Australian Government Higher Education Participation and Partnership Program. The videos were produced by Matthew Austin and Adrian Taylor.